The neon lights flickered above the crowded street, casting a strange glow on the faces of creatures from dozens of planets. In the heart of the city, hidden between metal towers and smoke-filled alleys, there was a market unlike any other here. Humans and aliens whispered deals that no law would touch. And tonight, a new arrival stirred the attention of everyone who passed. She walked slowly, her long hair shimmering under the neon. Her eyes darted around nervously, noticing the sharp claws, metallic arms, and strange garments of the buyers and sellers. She had been promised a place of work, a chance to survive, but this was different. Far darker than she imagined. A man with a cold, calculating smile stepped forward, holding a small device that glowed red. "Guaranteed your money back if she doesn't satisfy you tonight," he said in a voice that carried across the market. His words made the crowd shift uncomfortably, some murmuring, some staring, and some turning away. The girl's heart pounded. She didn't understand the language fully, but she knew fear, she knew danger. Then someone came from the shadows, a human unlike any other here, tall, broad-shouldered. With calm eyes that seemed to pierce through the chaos, he looked at her, then back at the dealer, and said something sharp, decisive. The dealer's smile faltered, his confidence wavering for the first time that night. The man handed a bag of glowing coins to the dealer, and the crowd gasped. The girl froze, unsure if she should run or trust him. Her instincts screamed danger, but the calm in his eyes gave her a strange sense of hope. The dealer stepped back, waving his hands as if to say, "She's yours now." But nothing in this market was simple, and nothing stayed calm for long. Machines whirred, and creatures whispered in corners. The human led her down an alley that smelled of oil and burnt metal. "This way," he said, and for the first time, she felt she might survive the night. Above them, the neon lights flickered faster. As if warning of what was coming, the shadows moved strangely, and a faint humming filled the air somewhere deep in the market. A bell rang, echoing like a countdown, and the girl realized nothing about tonight would be ordinary. She looked at him again, searching for reassurance, and he simply nodded. As if understanding every fear she had, the crowd faded behind them, the voices blending into a distant murmur, and in that moment the adventure truly began. Little did she know the night was filled with traps, secrets, and tests of courage. The dealer had enemies, and the market had rules that no human or alien dared break. But one thing was certain. The man who bought her had his own reasons, and those reasons would soon be revealed in ways that would shock her completely. The alley turned sharp, leading to a hidden lift that descended deep underground. The hum grew louder, lights changed from neon to pale blue. The girl clutched her arms, unsure if she could trust anyone, but the man's hand hovered near hers, protective, guiding, strong. And somewhere in the darkness below, eyes watched, calculating, waiting for a mistake. The night had only just begun, and the rules of the market were about to change forever. For her, for him, and for everyone who dared to enter this forbidden place. The lift shuddered as it descended into the darkness, its walls glowing faint blue from embedded lights. The girl's heart pounded, each beat echoing in her ears. She looked around nervously, the metallic walls reflecting shadows that seemed alive. The hum of the machinery grew louder, vibrating through her bones. The man who bought her remained calm, his eyes scanning every corner. He didn't speak much, but his presence was enough to make her feel slightly safer. "Where are we going?" she finally asked, her voice barely above a whisper. He gave her a small smile but said nothing, his gaze fixed ahead. The doors opened with a hiss, revealing a large chamber filled with tables, screens, and glowing holograms. Creatures of all shapes and sizes moved with purpose, exchanging goods and information. Some had multiple eyes, others had limbs like metal wires, and a few had skins that shimmered like water. It was a market beneath a market, hidden from the eyes of the normal world. The dealer from above had been cautious, but here the rules were even stranger. Everything had a price, and every deal could turn deadly. The girl felt a chill as she realized how far from safety she truly was. She clutched her arms tighter, wishing for a familiar place, a safe corner anywhere she could hide. The human led her to a corner of the room where a table was empty. He gestured for her to sit, and she hesitated but obeyed. The table seemed ordinary, yet the faint glow underneath hinted at hidden dangers. Above them, a screen lit up, displaying the dealer's face from the street market. "You have the girl," the dealer said, his voice sharp and angry. "Yes," the human replied calmly. "She's mine." And she will not leave this place until I say so. The dealer's eyes narrowed. Scanning the room for witnesses, he knew the rules underground were strict, and breaking them could cost him more than money. The girl listened, confused. Not understanding all the words, but she sensed tension. A power struggle that could turn violent at any moment. The human placed a hand near hers, just above the table, reassuring, protective. She felt a spark of courage knowing that she wasn't completely alone. Suddenly a loud alarm echoed through the chamber. Red lights flashing, creatures froze, tables rattled, and the screens flickered. Security breach. A voice shouted in a strange metallic tone. The human's eyes sharpened, his stance defensive, ready for anything. From the shadows, a figure emerged, tall, cloaked, and moving silently. The girl's breath caught. Fear gripping her chest, the figure's face was hidden, but its presence screamed authority. It stopped at the edge of the table, observing the girl carefully. You brought her here, the figure said. Its voice low and smooth, the human nodded without fear, his calmness unnerving the newcomer. This girl is not for sale or trade, the figure continued. She belongs to no one but the one who saves her. The girl's eyes widened. Trying to understand, the words sounded like a warning and a promise at the same time. The human leaned slightly closer, speaking quietly. She's under my protection now, and no one will harm her. Not tonight. Not ever. The cloaked figure tilted its head, considering, then nodded slowly. Then prove it, it said, and disappeared into the shadows as silently as it had come. The alarm faded, but tension remained thick in the air. Creatures whispered among themselves, glancing at the girl with curiosity and suspicion. She realized she was no longer just a bystander. She had a role to play. Her survival depended on understanding the rules of this underground world quickly. The human turned to her, finally speaking. You have to trust me, he said. Nothing here is safe unless we stick together. She nodded, unsure but willing. The weight of the night pressed down, heavy with danger, mystery, and uncertainty. From the far end of the chamber, a hidden door slid open with a hiss, revealing a stairway descending even deeper. The human glanced toward it, then back at the girl. This is where it begins, he said. The real tests are below. Her stomach twisted with fear, yet a strange thrill ran through her veins. Adventure, danger, and a chance to change her destiny lay ahead. And as they stepped toward the stairway, the shadows seemed to whisper. The market above would not forget her presence. Enemies watched, allies hid, and every step could be a trap. But for the first time, she felt a spark of determination. She would survive. She would endure, and perhaps she would rise. The underground was only the beginning, and the night held secrets that no one could predict. She didn't know it yet, but the man who saved her had his own past, full of battles, debts, and enemies. And the choices they made tonight would echo far beyond this hidden market. The night had begun, and nothing would ever be the same. The stairway descended sharply, winding like a serpent into the depths of the city's underbelly. The walls were damp, metal pipes hissing and clanking with steam. The girl's heartbeat quickened with every step. Her palms sweaty. She felt the weight of the unknown pressing down. Yet something inside whispered that she had to keep moving. The human led the way, his hand near hers but not touching, giving her space yet offering silent protection. What is this place? She whispered, her voice trembling. Patience, he replied, eyes scanning the darkness ahead. You'll see soon enough. They walked in silence, only the sound of their boots echoing against the cold stone walls. Finally, the stairway ended, opening into a vast chamber bathed in pale green light. The air was thick with energy, charged and vibrating, as if the space itself was alive. In the center of the chamber was a massive arena, circular with walls covered in screens and holograms. Creatures from every corner of the galaxy filled the stands, watching silently, their eyes glowing in the dim light. The girl froze, her mind racing. What is this? She asked, her voice almost lost in the hum of the chamber. The human's expression hardened, his jaw tight. This is where decisions are made, he said quietly. Where power is tested and strength proves itself. Suddenly, a deep voice echoed from above, amplified through hidden speakers. Welcome, challengers, observers, and spectators of the arena of fates. The voice boomed. The crowd erupted into murmurs and whispers, creatures leaning forward to watch closely. The girl's stomach twisted, fear and curiosity warring inside her. The human guided her to a platform near the edge of the arena. Stay close, but not too close, he whispered. They judge everyone who enters, even you. Her eyes widened, glancing at the center of the arena where shadows moved. Figures stepped forward, humans, aliens, and beings she couldn't even describe. They moved with purpose, their movements graceful, precise and deadly. The deep voice spoke again. Tonight, a challenge begins, a test of courage, loyalty, and skill. All who enter may survive, some may not, and the consequences ripple beyond these walls. The girl swallowed hard, her throat dry. She realized that this was no ordinary market, no ordinary transaction. This was a place where destinies were decided, and her fate was suddenly entangled with it. The human placed a reassuring hand near hers. Though not touching, "You may feel scared," he said, "but fear can be your ally if you learn to control it." She nodded, uncertain how, yet trusting him more than anyone she had ever met. The dealer from the market above appeared in a corner, his eyes narrowing as he observed them. He had allies here, enemies here, and someone would pay for crossing him from the shadows. A creature with multiple eyes and metallic wings glided silently. It landed in the arena center, observing the girl and the human with strange intensity. Then, without warning, the arena walls lit up, showing countless images, hunters, battles, victories, and defeats. The girl's eyes widened, realizing these were not just spectators, they were judging her, testing her. Every twitch, every hesitation, every glance was recorded, analyzed, and weighed. The human turned to her, voice low but firm. "You are not just a girl being sold tonight. You are a key to something far bigger," he said. She blinked, confused, unsure what he meant. "Follow me, trust me, and survive," he added. "The rest will reveal itself in time." Suddenly, a challenge was announced, the voice booming. "A new contender enters the arena," it said. "They must prove their worth or they fail." The girl's breath caught. Her heart racing, the human stepped forward, placing himself between her and the open arena. "I will go first," he said. "Watch and learn, and be ready." The crowd erupted in cheers and strange alien sounds. Creatures of all shapes and sizes leaned forward, their glowing eyes fixed on the arena floor. The human faced the first trial, a massive mechanical construct, spinning blades, flashing lights, and energy beams. He moved with skill, dodging, striking, and manipulating the environment. The girl watched in awe, fear, and hope. She realized that this man had powers, knowledge and courage far beyond ordinary. As the trial ended, he turned to her, eyes intense. "Your turn is next," he said. Her stomach twisted, but she felt a spark of determination. If she survived this arena, she could change her fate forever. If she failed, the market, the dealer, and the shadows would consume her. The lights dimmed, the crowd quieted. All eyes were on her now. The arena held its breath, waiting for the first move, and in that moment, she realized that fear was only the beginning. Courage was the path, and the night was far from over. The girl stepped onto the arena floor, her legs trembling. The lights above cast strange shadows across the polished metal. The crowd fell silent, eyes glowing and fixed on her every move. Creatures whispered, machines hummed, and the air seemed charged with tension. The human stepped aside, giving her space. "You can do this," he said. Voice calm but firm. "Trust your instincts." "Trust yourself," she nodded, unsure how, but willing to try. The moment she took a step forward, the floor beneath her shifted, revealing glowing panels and moving platforms. Suddenly, a wall of energy rose from the ground. Forming a maze of light, the crowd leaned forward. Anticipating her every move, the girl's heart raced, fear and determination battling inside her. She remembered the human's words and forced herself to focus, to observe. Each panel she stepped on glowed briefly, then sank into the floor. Mistakes could cost her balance or worse. Alert the hidden dangers in the maze, she moved carefully, her mind racing to predict the patterns. Machines whirred above her, and drones circled, scanning, analyzing, judging. From the stands, she could feel the eyes of the cloaked figure who had appeared before, watching, waiting, perhaps testing. The dealer from the street market had allies here, but even they seemed cautious. The arena had rules no one dared break, and she was about to learn them the hard way. A sudden trap snapped beneath her foot. A burst of air nearly throwing her off balance, she stumbled, her breath catching. Then instinctively she leapt to a nearby panel. Landing just as it sank, her pulse surged with adrenaline, and something inside her clicked. She realized she could sense the rhythm, the movement, the pattern of the arena. The crowd reacted, low murmurs and alien sounds. The human watched closely, nodding slightly. a faint smile crossing his face. "You're faster than I expected," he said quietly. "Keep going." The girl's confidence grew, small but steady. Fear was still there, but courage was stronger. Another section of the arena opened, revealing a series of platforms floating above a pit of glowing liquid. The lights reflected strange patterns across her skin, and the smell of ozone filled the air. She hesitated, remembering what the human had said about trust. Then, with a deep breath, she jumped, landing carefully on the first platform. Her movements became more precise, more deliberate. Each step a small victory. Suddenly, a mechanical guardian emerged. Tall, sleek, with glowing red eyes, it moved with speed, blades extending from its arms. Scanning for weakness, the girl froze, realizing this was more than a test of balance or courage. It was a fight, a real confrontation, and she had to act. The human shouted from the edge, "Don't panic! Use the environment." She glanced around, spotting a nearby panel glowing brighter than the others. Thinking quickly, she jumped onto it, and as she landed, the panel released a burst of energy. Knocking the guardian off balance, it stumbled, giving her a brief window to move forward. Her heart pounded, but she felt alive, more alive than she had ever felt. The crowd reacted again, louder this time, their eyes glowing brighter. Some murmured in alien tongues. Others clapped with strange appendages. She realized she was earning respect, not as a possession, not as a commodity, but as a being capable of courage. The arena was not just a test, it was a revelation, a proving ground. She advanced through the maze of platforms and energy walls, every step requiring focus and determination. Her body ached, her lungs burned, but she refused to stop. Each obstacle she overcame seemed to awaken something inside her, a hidden strength. The human watched proudly, knowing that her courage was real, that she had potential beyond anyone's expectation. Finally, she reached the center of the arena. The mechanical guardian defeated, the crowd erupted, cheers and alien sounds echoing through the chamber. The cloaked figure reappeared, observing her silently. For the first time, she felt seen, not as a commodity, not as a girl to be bought, but as someone with value, courage, and strength. The human approached her, offering a hand. "You did it," he said. "You passed the trial of courage, but this is only the beginning." She grasped his hand, relief and pride mixing in her chest. The lights above shifted, and the arena seemed to acknowledge her success. She realized that survival was no longer just about avoiding danger. It was about embracing it, learning from it, and rising above it. As they left the arena floor, the girl looked back, noticing the dealer and his allies watching silently. She knew they would not forget her. But now she had power, knowledge, and courage on her side. The human led her through a hidden passage, deeper into the underground. "The next trial will be harder," he said, eyes serious. "But I believe you can face it." The girl nodded, determination burning brighter than ever. The night was far from over, and her journey into courage, power, and destiny had truly begun. The hidden passage was narrow and dark, the walls slick with condensation. The girl followed the human closely, her steps echoing softly. Every sound seemed louder here, every shadow deeper. Her mind raced with questions. Who was he really? And why had he saved her? The human glanced at her once, then forward, silent and focused. "They are watching," he said finally, voice low. "Enemies from the market and others you cannot see." She shivered, realizing that her survival depended on more than courage. It depended on trust, on instincts, and on the choices she had yet to make. The passage ended in a cavernous chamber, lit with pale green light. Strange machinery hummed in the corners, and pipes ran like veins across the ceiling. The air smelled of ozone and burning metal. In the center was a pool of glowing liquid. Moving as if alive, the human approached it, placing a hand on a nearby console, and the pool shifted, revealing a hidden staircase. "This leads to the Hall of Echoes," he explained, "where the past meets the present, and choices define the future." The girl's eyes widened, her imagination running wild. Hall of Echoes. The name sounded mysterious, dangerous, and important. She followed him down the steps, heart pounding with fear and anticipation. At the bottom, the chamber opened into a massive hall, walls covered in holographic images. Some images showed battles across distant planets. Others showed individuals rising from nothing to greatness, and some showed dark deeds, betrayals, and failures. The girl felt a chill, understanding that this place remembered everything, judged everything, and revealed hidden truths. The human led her to a pedestal in the center, Step forward, he said. The hall will reveal what you must face. Her legs shook, but she obeyed, stepping onto the platform. Suddenly, the images shifted, forming a glowing figure that resembled her. It moved, spoke, and acted independently, showing fears, doubts, and insecurities she had never shared. The girl gasped, fear gripping her. She realized the hall reflected the inner self, exposing weaknesses and hidden potential. The human stood beside her, calm, guiding. You must confront it, he said. Only then can you grow beyond what you are. Her mind raced, heart pounding, but she faced the image. It lunged, screamed, challenged, but she stood firm, refusing to retreat. The hall responded, the images shifting to trials, each one testing her courage, intelligence, and endurance. Some required physical skill, leaping across glowing platforms or dodging energy blasts. Others required thinking quickly, solving riddles in alien languages or making choices with no clear right answer. The girl realized that every trial was connected. Every action had a consequence. She began to move with more confidence, understanding the rhythm of the hall, learning from each challenge. Meanwhile, the human watched, nodding, occasionally giving small hints. He didn't interfere, but his presence was comforting, like a shield she could lean on if needed. You're stronger than you think, he said quietly, and stronger than they expect. The girl smiled slightly, realizing that he believed in her, even when she doubted herself. Suddenly, the hall shifted, revealing an image of the dealer from the market. He was speaking to a shadowy figure, plotting, scheming. The girl's stomach twisted, realizing the danger wasn't just from the arena or the hall. The market's reach extended deep, and enemies would not forget or forgive. The human noticed her gaze, eyes narrowing. They are planning something, he said, voice serious. Something that could change everything. The images shifted again, showing glimpses of other challengers who had failed. Some were lost forever, some returned broken, and a few had risen to power. The girl realized that the line between victory and failure was thin. Every decision mattered, every hesitation could be deadly. Her hands trembled slightly, but determination burned brighter than fear. The hall then revealed a glowing doorway at the far end. Pulsing with energy, the human gestured toward it. This is the exit, he said, but passing through it is not simple. It will test your will, your courage, and your trust in me. The girl took a deep breath, feeling a surge of strength. She knew she had come too far to stop now. As they approached the doorway, the Hall of Echoes seemed to respond to her determination. The images faded, replaced by light and shadows dancing together. The dealer's figure disappeared, the shadowy plots hidden once more. The girl felt a strange calm, as if the hall had acknowledged her courage. She looked at the human, eyes meeting his, and for the first time she understood. She was no longer just surviving. She was beginning to rise. The glowing doorway pulsed brighter, inviting and challenging at the same time. The human took her hand briefly. Ready? He asked. She nodded, fear mixed with exhilaration. Together, they stepped into the unknown, the next stage of their journey. The Hall of Echoes faded behind them, but its lessons and trials would remain forever. The night was far from over. Enemies still lurked, dangers waited in shadows, and the market's power stretched endlessly. But the girl had learned something crucial. Courage, trust, and determination could bend fate, and with the human by her side, she knew she could face whatever came next. The journey continued, and destiny awaited in ways neither of them could yet imagine. The glowing doorway closed behind them with a hiss, leaving the girl and the human in a narrow tunnel. The air was thick, charged with electricity and tension. The human glanced at her, eyes sharp and alert. They know we've passed the Hall of Echoes, he said quietly, voice tense. And they will come for us. The girl's stomach tightened, fear mixing with determination. She had survived the arena, faced the hall, and discovered courage she never knew she had. But now danger was real and it was close. She kept her hand near the human, trusting his guidance, trusting his strength. Suddenly, a metallic clatter echoed from behind. Shadows moved fast along the walls, their shapes jagged and threatening. The girl's heart raced as figures emerged, armed with strange weapons, eyes glowing with anger. The dealer from the market had arrived, and he brought an army with him. The human stepped forward, placing himself between her and the attackers. Stay behind me, he said. Voice firm, calm but commanding, the girl obeyed. Feeling the pulse of danger around her, she realized the fight ahead would test everything she had learned. Courage, skill, and trust. The dealer's voice rang out, harsh and cold. You took what was mine, he shouted. And you think you can survive? His army moved in unison, strange weapons humming with energy. The girl's pulse quickened, but she refused to step back. She had faced trials before, and she would face this too. The human's eyes glowed faintly as he assessed the enemy. He moved with speed and precision, dodging attacks and deflecting energy blasts. The girl watched closely, trying to learn to anticipate. Her instincts sharpened, every movement deliberate, every breath controlled. A figure lunged toward her, claws extended. She ducked instinctively, rolling to the side. Her hands grasped a metal pipe and she swung it at the attacker. The creature hissed and fell back, surprised by her courage. Her heart pounded, but she felt alive. Stronger with every challenge, the human fought beside her. His moves precise, almost effortless. He struck with force, defended with strategy, and moved as if predicting the enemy's thoughts. She realized he was not just a protector, he was a warrior, a strategist, a force of nature. And she began to see that together. They could stand against any odds. The dealer's army pressed closer, their energy weapons glowing brighter. The girl ducked behind a pillar, taking a deep breath. She felt a spark of power within her, something the Hall of Echoes had awakened. She moved forward, not running, not hiding. Her hands glowed faintly, an energy she didn't fully understand, but it pulsed with strength. She aimed at the nearest attacker, releasing a surge of power. The figure was thrown back, crashing against the wall. Gasps echoed from the enemy ranks, surprise and fear flashing in their eyes. The human nodded, a small smile crossing his face. Good, he said quietly. You are ready for what comes next. The battle intensified, the tunnel echoing with the sounds of combat, energy blasts and shouts. The girl moved with growing confidence, each action purposeful, each strike precise. She realized she could fight, defend and survive, and more than that, she could make a difference. Her courage inspired the human, and together, they became a force unstoppable. Suddenly, the dealer stepped forward, rage in his eyes. You will not leave here alive, he shouted. The human stepped in front of the girl, stance firm, ready. The dealer's eyes flickered with recognition, surprise and anger. He realized that the human was no ordinary man, and the girl was no ordinary victim. Energy surged between them, the air crackling with tension. The human moved first, striking with precision. Knocking the dealer back, the girl followed, her power growing with confidence. Together they fought not just for survival, but for freedom, for destiny. The dealer staggered, his army faltering as fear and respect replaced their aggression. Finally, the dealer fell back, realizing he had underestimated them. The girl and the human stood together, bruised but victorious. The tunnel was quiet now, the echoes of battle fading. She looked at the human, understanding for the first time he had chosen her, not as a possession, not as a commodity, but as an equal, as a partner in this fight. The glow from her hands faded, but the strength remained. She knew the night was far from over and challenges still awaited. But she had discovered her courage, her potential, and her purpose. The human placed a hand on her shoulder, calm and reassuring. We are not done, he said, but tonight, you prove something important. You can survive. You can fight, you can rise, the girl nodded, determination burning brighter than fear. The dealer's shadow still lingered, but they were no longer invincible. The underground tunnels echoed with the promise of new battles, new trials, and new victories, and together they moved forward, ready for whatever the night, the market, or destiny had in store. The path ahead was dangerous, full of uncertainty and enemies, but courage, trust, and determination would guide them. And the girl realized that she was no longer just a survivor. She was becoming something greater. The night had tested her, shaped her, and awakened her. And the final part of their journey was about to begin. The underground tunnel stretched before them, dark and winding. The girl's heart still pounded from the battle, her muscles aching, but something inside her burned brighter than exhaustion or fear. She had survived the arena, conquered the Hall of Echoes, and fought the dealer's army. Now the final test awaited, a truth that would decide her fate and the humans. They reached a massive chamber, larger than anything she had seen before. The walls shimmered with energy, pulsating like a living being. In the center was a pedestal glowing with golden light. Ancient symbols floated above it, alien and mesmerizing. The human turned to her, eyes serious but calm. "This is it," he said, "the final choice. The ultimate test of courage and destiny." The dealer's presence was felt, even though he remained hidden. His shadows moved along the walls, watching, waiting for a mistake. The girl stepped forward, feeling the weight of the moment. Every trial, every challenge, every fear she had faced led to this instant. The pedestal pulsed and a voice echoed deep and resonant. "Only one who has faced fear, embraced courage, and risen beyond limits may claim the power," it said. The girl felt a surge of energy within her. Memories of the Hall of Echoes, the arena, and the battles flooding back. She understood now. She was not just surviving. She was meant to rise. The human placed a hand near hers, not touching but guiding. "Trust yourself," he said quietly. "Trust what you've learned, what you've become." She took a deep breath. Stepping closer to the pedestal, the energy pulsed faster. Responding to her heartbeat, it was alive, aware. And waiting for her to claim it, suddenly the dealer appeared, shadows twisting around him. "You will not take it," he shouted, fury and desperation in his voice. The human stepped in front of her, protective and unyielding. "You've underestimated her," he said, eyes blazing. "And underestimated me." The shadows lunged, energy blades flashing, but together they moved with precision, dodging and deflecting. The girl felt her own energy respond, glowing, pulsing, merging with the pedestal's light. She reached out, placing her hands on the pedestal. A surge of power shot through her, warm and electrifying. Images of the arena, the Hall of Echoes, and every challenge she had faced appeared in her mind. She saw herself not as a victim, not as a possession, but as a warrior, a survivor, a force of destiny. The dealer's shadow shrieked, twisting and shrinking as her light expanded. The human's voice guided her. Steady and calm. "You are ready," he said. "Rise beyond fear, beyond doubt, beyond them." The golden energy enveloped her, lifting her slightly off the ground. The chamber shook, walls glowing, shadows retreating. The dealer tried to resist, but the light was stronger, purer, unstoppable. The girl opened her eyes. Shining with determination, she felt courage, strength, and power coursing through her. She was no longer just a girl taken from the streets of the market. She was a survivor, a warrior, someone who could challenge fate itself. The dealer screamed, then vanished into the shadows, his power broken. The market above would remember the night, but none could stop what had risen below. The human smiled, proud, his own secret still hidden. "You did it," he said. "You claimed what was yours and proved your worth." The girl looked around, realizing the chamber had changed. Calm and silent now. She had faced every fear, every challenge, and emerged stronger, alive and victorious. The pedestal's light dimmed, leaving her standing, radiant but grounded. The human extended his hand and she took it, feeling trust, partnership, and hope. "Where do we go now?" she asked, voice steady, confident. "Forward," he replied. "The world is vast, full of dangers, but also full of possibilities," she nodded, ready for whatever came next. No longer afraid, no longer a victim. She was a survivor, a hero in her own right. As they ascended the hidden stairway, the glow of the chamber fading behind them, the girl felt a sense of destiny awakening inside her. The market, the dealer, the shadows, they were all pieces of a story she had rewritten. She had risen not just to survive, but to conquer, to shine, and to change her fate. The night had tested her, shaped her, and revealed the truth. Courage, trust, and determination could bend destiny. Above them, the city lights flickered, indifferent to the battles below. But the girl and the human knew their victory was real, earned and permanent. They stepped into the open, ready to face the world beyond the underground. And the girl, once a frightened figure in a dark market, now walked with strength, hope, and purpose. She was no longer defined by fear or possession, but by courage, resilience, and the power she had claimed. The night ended, but the story of her rise had just begun. The dealer's shadows would fade, but her light would remain. She had survived the trials, faced the darkness, and emerged victorious. And as she looked at the human beside her, she understood the truth of the HFY universe. Strength, courage, and humanity could shine even in the darkest places, and together, they would face whatever challenges the future held, fearless, unstoppable, and triumphant.